game bookmaking. All you need is tickets and chalk. Change the prices, take money and win. Done our dough, chaps. We've done our dough.
I'd see
patronising attitude.
That's unfair. I would see betting shops return to laying bets as opposed to being mini casinos.
And a very warm welcome to the Bar Stewards Inquiry Weekend podcast. And joining me this evening are three very likely candidates to put you in the winner's enclosure this weekend. It's John Lang. Good evening, John.
Evening, mate.
Second on this evening, Andy Richmond, back after his sabbatical. Good evening, Andy.
Good evening, Lee.
And last but not least is paddock guru. He's been all over North Yorkshire this week. Adam Norman. Good evening, Adam.
Good evening, lads.
I don't know what he's been all over North Yorkshire for, but he's been all over
all over the place, as always.
Yes. Anyway, on to today's show, and it's an absolute corker, and we're hoping to carry on from our rather good form of late, especially with the followers and the tipping at the Craven meet this week. John, of course, coming up with a star turn Aidan for our loyal listeners. And John, you must have had a cracking Craven meeting. We saw Bob Parker as well, winning at Shanty.
Yeah, that was nice in particular. Because I like that horse, and another win on ground I don't think's ideal for him. So
yeah,
watch this space. We'll get him on a bit of decent.
You might be having your lot in the Dante against the Kilts Royal Patronage.
Yeah, well, he can come fast if I run through, can't he?
Good stuff. All right, okay, without further ado, it's a busy show. We've got 9 meetings to plough through. We're not going to cover them all, but certainly if you're studying this evening, you might want to not bother with half of it. But we've certainly got enough to get our teeth into for some good bets. So I'm going to go around the houses now for our best bets. Andy Richmond, you've been longest off the show, so you can go first with your 1 pointer, please.
1 pointer, right. I go to Haydock for the 244, and I should go to a horse I think might have been a bit of a. I think at one stage I thought he was a bit of a nutcase, but he seems to have settled down a little bit. So I'm referring to in the 244, Nocte Velatus, who I've been sort of mildly impressed with since his misdemeanour at Hereford when he ran out. I thought he ran a very good race at Sandown last time out. Won the time before. There's that fall at Catterick is on his CV. It's a competitive enough heat tomorrow, but I think he's okay. I think he's got a little bit in hand of the old handicapper, this horse. So I'll have a point on Nocte Velatus. He certainly jumps very well. Most of these in the race, I don't know. I'm not convinced about isolating a finish. Corran Cross has frustrated me, and I think the main danger probably comes from Numitor, who might get a little bit loose up front. But I think Nocte Velatus, I'll just give him the nod. He was overhauled last time out, but given by one, we've got a very good ride. But I think Nocte Velatus, I'll have a point on Nocte Velatus in a 244 at Haydock tomorrow.
Okie doke. So 9-2 for Andy.
Okay.
He's Nocte Velatus, Stan Shepherd on board after a good second behind Foxborough of Robert Walford's last time. Adam Norman for 1 pointer, please.
Okay, nice low-key start for me. It's at Newton Abbot in the 1 o'clock. It's a 5 runner handicap chase. I like As You Like here in the green and gold. It was shaping up into a Newton Abbot specialist a couple of summers ago. Was second three times and won twice at the track. He's won a couple of times elsewhere since and spent a long time running in races that I didn't really think he could win. It's typical sort of JP style soft ground 3-milers in sort of tracks and races that he couldn't really win off higher marks. He's not really cascaded down the weights, mainly because he won 3 starts back last summer off similar markers as what he is running off tomorrow. Had a spin at Ludlow last month, which was just a sighter. he has got, as I say, 4 opponents. And any race that Seddon is running in, I want to have a go in, because I absolutely can't bear the horse. It doesn't have the scope for fences, and always takes a nice chunk out of the market considering his connection. So we should have a good pace on here with Shoal Bay. As You Like It will stay further, but he's, as I say, C&D winner a couple of times. Rock On Rocco is the other short price one in here, coming back off quite a lengthy absence. There's every chance he's ready to go, and he's unexposed, and there's every chance that he could win first time. But he only won a 2-winner race when he was last seen, and as I say, those two take a chunk out of the market. So As You Like has been put in quite a decent price, so 1 point on him.
Good stuff. 15 to 2 available. We'll like the ground on top tomorrow down at the Abbot, and hope that goes well for you, Adam. As You Like there in the 1 o'clock race. John, coming to you for your 1 pointer, please.
I'm a little bit sick about this one because the price has had a bit of stick. This is in the 250 at Cork. And this is, funnily enough, it's an ex-Simcock horse that I flagged up last year when it went to Ado McGuinness, and that's Bringsty, or Bringsty. Had 3 sighters at the back end of last year. I actually put it up as a bet on one of those 3 sighters. I was never given much hope. It was just blatantly not off any of the races. I noticed they're putting the hood on today, so they've got their excuse ready for the stewards when the inevitable questions are asked. 83 is very workable. He achieved that mark, as I say, like running for Simcock. So we had the usual, it was doing everything the hard way. I think this track and trip will be ideal, and I'll go with 1 point win in case they stop him if they've missed the price.
Okay, so that's John, 1 point win on Bringsty after John's took all the 50s and left you lot with 16s. So good luck with that, John. Sod the paupers. You make sure you've got the 50s, mate. Well done. So that's John's first rounder. Nice big price for us of Ado McGuinness's. I'm going in the 132 at Musselburgh for my 1 pointer. And John will be pleased to know I'm going for one of the Kilton the Sporrans in the shape of Value Theory. I think the price is under pressure a little bit. It has been bigger. It's 9 to 1 yesterday. Didn't expect to see 9 to 1. That's just Toy Town. 6 to 1 is currently available. I would probably have the horse favourite, given that what the Kilt does. This won't be out of the back held up. I just think this is rather strange placing, and I don't think that's the last time, John, we'll be saying throughout this flat season that's rather strange placing from the Kilt. This is a filly that's already got black type. She's a Group 3 place behind Majestic Glory. In second was Wild Beauty, who is favourite for the Fred Darling tomorrow. And and she wasn't disgraced in the Supreme. She was 6 behind Miss On Scene. Hello You, which ran well in the Nell Gwyn this week. So I was just perplexed why you've got black type with a filly. You're coming for a handicap. It's not a particularly valuable one in terms of, it's 15,000 for the winner, but there'll be, I'm sure there'll be bigger scalps than that for a filly with possible further black type pretensions to a CV. But anyway, that's how I looked at it, and I thought 6 to 1 in this sort of class, I thought that was the one to be on of the Sporrans, given that Spirit Catcher. I thought was a doubtful stayer at a mile. That's the other representative of the yard. I know it's by New Bay, but it's quite sprint bred on the dam side, and also I think he's quite a quick mover, Spirit Catcher. I watched him on the all weather. So Value Theory for me, 1 point win at 6s for the Kilt. I think that's the right one of that team's to be on. So we come to our second best bets, and John, I'll swing it round, John. I'll come round to you first of all.
There is a fascinating race at 5:45 at Cork. Regular listeners will remember a couple of weeks ago I tipped up the horse called Action Motion.
You did.
who simply wasn't off a step.
No.
It was quite disconcerting, really. I mean, he was very tenderly handled, to say the least, when they straightened up in a fairly slowly run race where he'd ridden from the back. Cheap paces are going on here, and he's considerably down in class, to give way to some, what looks on the face of it, some right scrap. However, Nasty Jim has one in here that's also got the look of being plotted up, with 3 runs at sprint trips, no messing about, straight up to 10 furlongs, knackers off. And also, Noel Meade's filly has been a disgrace as well. That's going straight up in trip. So it was a bit of a tough call which one was going to be the most off, shall we say. But I think I've probably got 2 to beat here, so I'm going 1 point each way on Action Motion.
Oh, Adam Norman's on.
I'm each way wankering.
What 1 point each way? Action Motion, a disgrace of a bet.
I might be running into 2. That's why.
6 to 1, 4 places on offer with the Bucks 50 odds for Safety John. Just because he's top of the Naps table now, John thinks it's John's trying to
cuddling it.
Yeah, he's trying to cement his position on the top end. Action Motion for John in the 5:45 with an each way wanker situation. Adam Norman, you might top him with an each way bet here.
There might be one later on, Lee, but my MO, as you've noticed, is trying to find the weakest race and on the day and try and find some value in it. So I'm going to go to Carlisle next, 254. It's actually not a weak race, but it is another small field. The horse is Miss Amelia, trained by Mark Walford. I saw her come back after an absence at Wetherby last month. She looked straight enough, to be honest, but there was a funny old race where a horse called Rose C. Hass was given an easy lead at the start, and they didn't really make any attempts to close it down. So it looked like a spin out under the bin man. Jockey upgrade tomorrow. Tom Midgley takes off 5. We love a bit of Midgley. And Miss Amelia, it's what a mare she was. She did a job for me, I remember, years ago at the Raisin off 78. And here she is now off 112. But she found bundles of improvement this time last year on all types of ground, and even went to Cheltenham and ran in Class 2 and did herself proud. She's £7 lower than she was that day or about a year ago. And she's probably had some issues. That's why she was off most of the winter. But I think this race might just fall into a lap. Wheel Bari as another one who's just gone right through the ratings with some dashing front running antics. But we've got Tonto Spirit in here and Joke Dancer and Slane Lock, who all on their day like to push it. So as long as they don't leave Will Bari in front and allow him to do his own thing, I can just see Miss Amelia having a nice pop round and being delivered at the right time. And as I say, I think there's value against Will Bari. He's been putting pretty short. Tonto Spirit's probably being lined up for some Cartmel antics this spring. And I think Miss Amelia should be, as I say, right there at the right time, and she's super consistent. So 2 points. I think she's about 9 to 2, isn't she? Yeah.
Yep, 9 to 2 generally available. Yeah. I can remember when she let me down for a 4-timer a few years ago at Doncaster. Yeah, and I think she then went on to win. I think something like four of an X6.
Yeah, she suddenly just found a bundle of improvement on all. I always thought she was a good speedy good ground horse, and then she started winning on the in the mud. It's very odd, but. Bonnie Mare and I think tomorrow I think 9 to 2 is too big, to be honest, mate. I thought she'd be nearer 3 to 1. I think she'll go off about that price.
Yeah. So Miss Amelia for Adam Norman at 9 to 2 for his 2-point win bet. Andy Richmond, your 2-pointer, please.
Right, we're going to Musselburgh. from the very last race, the Getting Out Stakes, the 457.
Yeah.
And the horse is McKean. Did very well at from where it was ridden from last time out at Leicester, against three who were more forwardly ridden, shall we say. McKean, who goes well when fresh, I thought was very much didn't get any room at all. Didn't get a run in the closing stages whatsoever. I think Stevie Wonder could have probably seen it as not given a particularly good ride, I don't think. Didn't get a clear run. Certainly one to be interested in. That was in a 0 to 80, dropped into a 0 to 70. Hopefully won't be as far back tomorrow around the racetrack that is Musselburgh. Should get a good pace to aim at. It's got a couple to beat in Sasson D'Or, who was in decent form last time out at Newcastle, and Palace Lord, who completes a hat trick, but they're both going up in grade. McKean looks a little better than this. 7 to 2, I think, should be quite winnable off over a mile round the old Musselburgh track. Hopefully gets a good pace to run it. Clear run. McKean, 2 points to win. Tar very much.
Yeah, good stuff. It was eye-catching, certainly at Leicester on reappearance.
But that was a much better race last time out than this is.
Indeed, that was a fairly competitive Class 4, and this would be a lot weaker. Obviously, getting in with the new BHA rules of you're able to run off 72 in a 0 to 70. So I like it. I like the placing, and that should give you a good run for your money there, Andy. So a good 2-point bet, 4 to 1 bet 365.
That will do nicely
for you there. Palace Lord, the current market leader at 7 to 2, ridden by Johnny Pate, a friend of the show. We move on to my rubbish now. The 225 at Newbury, the Fred Darling. Why not go for one of the competitive stakes races of the day in which to put you away? I'm really liking a big priced horse here, and there's no each way wankering with this. It's a 2-point on the nose bet on the Richard Fahey trained Barbanera. It's a monstrous 25 to 1. Cannot be 25 to 1 as long as I can breathe and look at screens. This horse caught my eye greatly on debut, really, where basically he shaped like much the best in the race. Got messed around and finished off real nice, showing a good attitude, just getting touched off. So I thought straight away, you've got the attitude to go far. Next time out at York, it bolts up by 3, beating Selby's Pride. Obviously, it's not formed to just go berserk about. I mean, Selby's Pride finished 3rd to Edward Cornelius at Thirst the other day off 82. So it's just, but it still stamps Barbanera as a really nice filly to do that. And then the eye-catching one for me was in the Basra Sham, the listed race last Barkend, where she reappears as one that comes against her in Symphony Perfect. Now, what I thought was interesting for Barbanera, on a third run, she still looks a bit green and just a bit lacking experience for a race of that nature at that point. She didn't come down the dip at all. She lost probably 2.5 lengths going down the dip. She's as if to say, what's this? Come up the hill really nicely, and was only just touched off a second by Desert Dreamer. Well, Desert Dreamer last year was running all the top sort of fillies races. Was 3rd in the Lowther, was 5 lengths behind Tenebrism at Newmarket, was second to Zane Claudette, second to Sandrine. You know, it's really good form. To do that on your third stop when you're not quite all there mentally at that point. There's plenty of stamina in the pedigree, so the step up to 7, I don't think it's any problem the way she came up the hill there in that listed contest. And I think 25 is a complete insult. And it's interesting that the yard have gone for Sumion, who's riding the other good horse of theirs in the Greenham. And I think it could be a red letter day for Faye down there. And I think Barbanera will outrun her odds massively. So I'm very confident. I would be no bigger than 10s, 9s or 10s I'd be. So 25s. Phil, if you want to go each way and be a cautious Claude, be my guest. But I'm very keen on Barbanera, and it's 2 points on the nose. So good case made. I hope you enjoy that selection and race, and we can get some points on the board. Right, best bets time. I'll start it off as you chaps have led the way. Irish National on Monday is where I'm going, and I'm all over this. I just think it's a 3-1 chance. It's a strong favourites chance. I can't believe really it's 7 or 8-1 because strangely I think they've trained this horse for this race. I think all this showboating in the Grade 1s this season, it hasn't looked off a yard. That's Gallard de Mesnil, the William Mullins runner. Paul Townend's in the saddle. It's just quite remarkable what they've done with this horse, because obviously this is a horse that was second to Bob Ollinger at last year's festival. It won at Punchestown in the Grade 1, beating Ashdale Bob. So everyone's looking forward to it as a chasing campaign, thinking this will make a chase, blah, 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 and it was third to Capodanno at Nars over 2 miles 3, beaten at 4-11. And then it wasn't really off behind Bob Ollinger when it was third. They've rode it from the back every time. They were wide and held up at Leopardstown behind Galloping Deschamps, never put in the race at 33s. And then at Cheltenham last time, I mean, if this for me, you'd have them in. You'd just say, well, you've not put this in the race. Long Press went from the front with Hoy Senor. This was just held up and wide. It was just as if to say, well, just having a spin, lads. In a Grade 1. And this to me looks like absolutely totally plotted up. It's a novice, so I get that. But for the prize being on offer, it's great planning to win €270,000, and I think it's a 3-1 perk. I think it's too much class for these off 154. I think it's probably an early 160 to 165 animal, and I think as long as things go right in the run, which is it's a little bit of a big ask, a lot of value there, 8 and 7-1. So I'll take 7-1 because obviously I understand that there's only maybe one bookmaker going the 8. So 7-1, that's where my 3 points are going this Easter weekend on the nose. Right, I'll come to you, Adam Norman, for your best bet.
Okay, I was a bit split here because I could have gone for a more obvious one for a 3-point. I thought I'd unearthed a real long shot, but it hasn't been missed, unfortunately. I'm going to tip it up anyway. It's in the 4.25 at Haydock, which is a competitive handicap hurdle. And it's a horse called the Macon Lunatic. It looks like a sort of a big slow boat, and it is, to be honest. I don't know where to start, to be honest. He won a couple of races at Donny, 3 races there. A couple of races there early doors. Won a handicap at Foss this time last year. Tends to like goodish ground with a bit of cut, so hopefully it's similar tomorrow. He's been running over fences all year, all winter, and he's just a sort of a big ignorant brute, and punctured several decent chances with 1 or 2 dodgy leaps. I've been absolutely crying out for him to wear some headgear, which he does get tomorrow, and that is the key to the bet, really. He was dropped back over hurdles last time at Donny and ran really well behind the much improved Sultan's Pride. The jockey change, Keelan Woods, is on for Luca Morgan. May or may not be an upgrade depending on your view on Woods. There's quite a few sexier horses in this, but it's just one of those that I've been waiting out for the right sort of situation or scenario, and they've thrown the headgear on. He may get a bit outpaced if it is livelier than the good to soft. He might be struggling, but hopefully the blinds will help in that regard. And I just think he's got a big run in him off his mark of 118. So as I say, I was kind of hoping for a really big odds. I know he's double figures in a place. I wouldn't particularly be that keen on taking the sort of 6, 7, 8. But if you can get some, if he drifts out in the morning, it's a competitive race, obviously. But as I say, I've made the case for him, and I think around 10-1, he is a solid each way bet.
Oh no! I just fell off my chair. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's a disgrace, absolute disgrace. Calls everyone out for putting each way bets out, and Norman does it again with the. I'm going to give him 12s though, because we need to stop Frank's winning this year's Naps table. So everyone needs as much help as what we can get. And it's 12s. We bet 365. Well, Denise Kurtz, you can't knock her. 12 to 1, 4 places, 50 odds. For Norman's wanker bet there, it'll scrambling in fourth, hanging on by a head. You just know it. You just
tries
know
to
it.
Get fourth. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you, Adam, for that. John, I'm coming to you for your very best.
9 meetings tomorrow.
Yes.
And I've ended up overlapping with Ole.
Ooh. Honestly, this is interesting. Go on.
132 at Musselburgh. Bullet Force is a course winner with a good draw.
Yeah.
And to me, he's well capable of hitting this mark, as he showed a couple of times last year. Never more so than when he ran into one at the Ledger meeting. Now, I don't know if anybody remembers the winner that day, but he actually popped on and won the Breeders' Cup. That nursery.
Yeah.
The runner-up has run with credit in Dubai since then. In the time after, he was given absolutely no chance because he sat out the back at HQ where the winner made all and the runner-up was super handy. The runner-up has confirmed its good form with a decent run at the Craven meeting this week. He has got to compete off this mark here. They ended his season last year in the bloody futurity, for God's sake. I mean, he had no chance. You know, write that off. But in the words of our esteemed colleague Adam Norman, a very, very solid each way bet, 1 point each way.
Another disgrace. Listeners, I do apologise. We're not going to get rich, back in these things, scrambling in. And hanging on to third. 7 to 1, I'll give you, John, because it's you, and we need to beat Franks. It's Operation Beat Franks this year. 7 to 1, 3 places, 150 odds for Bullet Force going against me, which I'd be more than happy if Bullet Force touched me off, given it's the kilt trains value theory. Right. So on to Andy. Right, Andy finishes off with a rouser for the.
I've got a nice each way bet in a dead 8.
We're stinking the place out.
No, I'm only joking. I've actually got a bit blogger.
Ooh,
actually,
we don't mind that.
I've got a bit blogger. Having missed out on Mr. Mullins in the Grand National, but didn't everyone, apart from those who bet at Betfair SP. 0-10 tomorrow in this 2:39. 3:14. We're on 3:14 at Musselburgh. I went back and watched this French race, and it was just a question of how short I wanted to go with 0-10. I think at about 7 to 2, I can just about get away with it if there's with 3 points. I think it's chucked in, to be honest with you. Looking at the horses he's running against, okay, it didn't. I mean, it was a very decent hurdler, and then they decided to run it on the flat. If you go back and watch its run in the French Group 1, now it wasn't. I admit it wasn't the strongest French Group 1, but he didn't half travel well. And if you look at those around it, he's still off a decent mark here. I think he's still a bit unexposed. Sometimes we can all get a bit too clever, can't we? And sometimes you just look at it and think, Emmett must know something here. He's booked the lad who had a little bit of trouble, shall we say, with the old nose candy last year, who is obviously a decent rider. I think of 7 to 2, 3.010. I mean, there's not an awful lot against it, is there? Really? I couldn't find anything else that was ahead of the handicapper, shall we say? So I shall lob in 3.010 for Emmett to have another good Saturday.
Well, you can't fault that. At least it's a 3-point nap with the Carrots team, and the Colombian kid taking 7 off. You know, and hanging out bags of Charlie to the crowd after he's won.
Only stuck him up a pound. He's only a pound higher than he's only a pound higher than his Irish mark. I mean, what's he on? Over his chase marks 147. His Earl marks 141, and he's off 107 here. So he's still, should have a little bit in hand, I think. And the opposition didn't look great. I suppose the only one I did think against him was old Cerulli. Hannon's got a very good record on his second run since the old nuts have been chopped off. That's the horse, not Richard Hannon.
Chopping up.
Well, yeah, I did think John might comment there. I can think of several people this week who probably want their nuts chopping off. Although I don't think you could do that with Pretty Patel, could you? So. Well, you might be able to. You might be able to actually, but hey ho. But no, 0-10 gets the vote there.
Good stuff. Well rounded off. So that's our bar stewards. Bets for the Easter weekend, and hopefully it will line your pockets with silver. So let's look at the televised races tomorrow in more detail to give everyone their adrenaline fix during the splendid coverage provided by ITV. So we're gonna go to Newbury first in case we run out of time, because I ain't got much time for that Scottish lump pit tomorrow. The 150 at Newbury is the John Porter, and I think before we discuss the John Porter, the ground at Newbury, the Clark's baffling me again. They've borrowed Pontefract's Clark clearly, because
did you get a reply?
No reply. They never reply, Clark's. Do you know why they don't reply? Because their job is a very difficult job to do. And the racing media keep telling you this every time they report on Clark. It's a difficult job, is a Clark's job. You can understand how difficult it is. You've only got about 20 meetings a year, and you'd have to turn up and eat a few lunches, and take a stick reading at 6 a.m. while you're walking the dog, and and having a fag, and yeah, I can see how difficult a Clark's job really is.
It's up there with bed tester for DFS, isn't
it? So I mean that's where we're at. Newbury claim the ground. I mean, obviously we know that they've had good temperatures today, so we know the ground's going to dry. But it's as if the Clark has decided he's watered for good. He's certainly not watered for good to firm, because if you look at Newbury's past descriptions, there will be no firm in that description tomorrow, no matter what drying day they've had today. Certainly 5.8 is soft ground, not good to soft in places as advertised. So clearly the 21 degrees they've had down there today was very needed. And it's a good job it was 3 degrees above of what the Clark thought it was going to be on the forecast, because that's probably helped him a little bit. But it probably will dry out to good anyway. Really happy with the state of the descriptions the Clarks are coming out with, because it's a disservice to punters. But the 150 race, the John Porter, Illarab is the 100 to 30 favourite. Any views on this that take your eye? Andy, you any sort of like stats on these, or anything that you want to?
Not particularly on this. I've got a few on the Spring Cup, which might enlighten and help out. Not really. I thought if there was one it was probably one I wanted to take on here more than back anything. I'd probably want to take on Thunderous.
Yeah,
because I don't really think that deserves to be favourite. I'd rather have Illarab, Max Vega, who we've got a bit of previous with from last year,
yes.
Raymond Tusk, and even Stone, who we've also got a bit of previous with. But I'd rather have them on side. I wasn't particularly keen on Thunderous, so if I was going to do anything in this, I'd probably have a small layer Thunderous at around 3 to 130 and have the rest running for me. But it wasn't really like you. The card, I'm put off by betting at Newbury because I just don't know what the ground is.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be surprised to see, say, like an early race run there, like the John Porter, and if it comes back 7 seconds slower than standard, you then don't know what to think. Well, what does that make the straight courses then?
We had a conversation about the last 2 meetings at Pontefract, because they've both been wrong.
Yeah, miles out as well. Not even close.
Even close.
Yeah, it's and same with Ripon as well. To be fair, Ripon gave it out as soft, and according to the going sticks that I looked on the archive, it was definitely near a heavy. The stick reading, and the times for me came across as heavy the other day at Ripon.
Of bad margin winners as well, wasn't there? Quite a lot of them weren't handling it at all.
It was riding very slow. So I'm upset with these Clarks because surely if you've got the data on Turf Track's archive, if you're a Clark and you say, right, my stick says 6.3 today, look on the Turf Track's archive on previous Clarks for a rough idea. Problem is you can look at some courses and 6.3 will give out soft, good to soft, good, anything. It's an impossible task, but I think it needs to be improved upon. It's a poor state of affairs. But I'm with you, Andy, on this. I'm against Thunderous because it's the wrong running style as well for Newbury. They'll probably bomb on with it, and it's. I just fancy something like Illarab to pick it off. Max Vega, I'd probably want softer ground, but like you say, how soft will it be? We don't know. Is it going to be good? I don't know. Adam, John, your thoughts on this?
I just didn't want a bear of the race, really, to be honest. Again, covering all ground, we don't know what the ground is. I mean, it's coming to something when a big race on a Saturday, you test it, but I think you have to view this as a tester.
Yeah. Yes.
And I would imagine, given the lack of an obvious front runner, Thunder Cunt will probably go on and try and make all for the kilt and the quilt. But I wouldn't want to be with that one at all around there. So, no bet for me.
It's a difficult start to Newbury's Saturday card. I've had a bet in the Fred Darling, so I'll sit this one out, chaps. Any fillies take your eye in this?
I'll probably just back yours. I mean, you've got to go back. Well, you've got to go back to 1999 when Wince won it to find the last winner to add the 1,000 guineas with this. And I was looking through for some prices on the ones that are in the 1,000 guineas, and the shortest I could find was Wild Beauty at 20 to 1 and Jumbly at 40s. Yeah. So I think that probably just about sums the race up.
Yeah.
You're a big Jane Chapel Heim fan, Lee.
I am massive.
What do you make of Heat of the moment?
I think she was relatively impressive enough on debut at Yarmouth. Can remember the race. She went off unbacked, which says to me that possibly they either didn't think much of her, or simply that the opposition weren't that much, and that's where I'm going on the numbers. I did think that Heat of the Moment had a lot to find, probably in the region of about £25 from that debut.
Okay.
That's where I was.
But that trainer's capable, isn't she?
She's she's got the Aussie carrots. I mean, she's you saw with Claymore this week. She can train. But
I'm not sure about those white bridles though. Very off-putting.
Yeah, it's not really my cup of tea either. He kind of he takes it away. Takes it away from looking at the horse rather than I like to look at the horse and the head and how it carries it. You just end up staring at a white bridle. Yeah, I know.
Stop far lap.
Yes,
didn't the Tinklers used to use them?
Yeah. You got all those white takeoff boards now as well to look at, haven't you?
Well, Colin Stinkley used to say it was easier for race riding, but then they went and had Kim Tinkler bouncing up and down. You could pick her up if she was riding a race around the fucking corner. So you didn't need a white bridle when she was riding, Jesus.
Yeah. Just to note a couple of fillies in here that I thought was notable going forwards. I think Miss Carol Ann's going to be quite nice, but I worry about. Yes, I worry about her with the ground as it is tomorrow, and also I think she's a sprinter. I genuinely think she'll get 7, but I think she'll peak probably at 6. I think she's got a nice turn of foot, and I'm not sure. I think they're just trying this just to see if she genuinely gets or potentially could stretch out, but I don't think so. And the other one I'd sort of mention in this. Again, the race that I ran in with my bet, Barbanera, Symphony Perfect. That's interesting because that did come down the dip very nicely, but there's not much of her. She's quite compact, and I don't know what a physical progression will be like this year. But the one thing's for sure, though, there's a lot of stamina on the dam side, and Hannons have done this before when they've trained horses. They just keep them at sprint trips as 2-year-olds, and it's like some of them just develop and sometimes just want that little bit further, and that could happen for Symphony Perfect. So I just wouldn't rule horses like that out, because Wild Beauty, who's 11-4 favourite, her form's okay, really. That's all. It's decent. It's good. It deserves to be favourite. I'm not saying it doesn't, but is it that far clear? I'm not so sure. That's where I'd be on the race, to be honest. Majestic Glory's obviously beaten her once before last season as well for Andrew Balding. Anyway, we'll go on to the Greenham, the 3 o'clock. Perfect Power for Faye and Sumion again heads the market at 2-1. The big doubt for me again, possibly this colt, is the Trip. Has showed great acceleration to win and put races to bed over 6. I don't think 7's a particular problem, but you never know. Our dad himself was a crack sprinter. So, what do we think here, chaps?
I think Angel Blur will outsteer Perfect Power on what we think the ground might be.
Yeah.
But you can't be certain until you've seen a race. Really. No,
I think that's so difficult when we're tipping like this, because how it rides. If it's going to ride slow on the slow side of good, you then take on everything that has doubtful stamina doubts, like Miss Caroline in the Fred Darling. That cannot win for me a Fred Darling on juice. But if it's riding good, or because I don't know how the drying effects work today. I suppose we'll find out when the Clark can be asked who's reading in the morning.
Well, it's live from Newbury tomorrow, isn't it? So he won't be taking a ride until 9:30.
No, it'll be 9:30.
He'll be out on the track, won't he? And then be showing Leona his stick.
His dirty stick.
Might be a muddy stick by then.
Might be a dodgy stick.
So, any thoughts on the Greenham, chaps, before we move on?
I thought Lucille might be a little bit of value, but again, you just don't know the ground, do you? It's just, I mean, if it is a bit softer than we think it might be, or as soft as it might be, Angel Blur, whatever. His best performances have certainly been on testing ground, haven't they? The Jean-Luc Lagardère and the Criterium International were both on testing ground. He beat the Wizard of Eye in the Jean-Luc Lagardère there. So I suppose of the two, I'd probably favour Angel. If I knew it was going to ride softer, I'd probably favour Angel Blur over that one. But again, it's not an appealing betting heat.
No, I totally concur with that, Andy.
You kind of wonder why anybody's chancing this Greenham for their horses, don't you? On like what might be testing. If you're fancying one for the Guineas, why would you risk what might be really dead ground, pulling the guts out of them 2 weeks before the Guineas?
Well, Annan the Cannon's actually come out and said that he hated the soft ground at Doncaster. So we'll be avoiding any ground with the word soft in it from now on. Well, I mean, I hope he's...
Doesn't mean you're going to avoid soft ground, does it?
Well, right, so it's 5.8. I can't wait to see the Clark stick in the morning. And to see where we're at with that. And, this is incredible because good ground has been 6.8 at Newbury before. 6 points, let that sink in. 6, and we're 5.8. So obviously it's going to get, after today, might be 6.3, 6.4 a guess, maybe. So we're still not there. I mean, he's watered. He's actually watered. I think he thinks it's Hennessy Gold Cup meeting in November. That's what he's thinking. He's watering for that. So the lovely old boats don't come to accidents in a 3 1/4 mile chase. Anyway, we'll move on as we've got nothing solid to offer you. Which
I once got very drunk with Stan Moore.
This sounds promising.
Come on, carry on. I want to hear this.
That was a long time ago. That's it.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I know.
I mean, you've
It's not for public consumption, though. The fact that I nearly died of alcohol poisoning.
I
thought Stan had bundled you into it back on Mondeo.
He may well have done. I have absolutely no recollection of what happened.
You know, he's 51 plate Mondeo diesel. You know, so you were smelling the diesel in the boot as you.
Whatever happened after 1 o'clock that night, I have no idea.
Anyway.
Oh dear.
Yeah, groundbreaking story on Bar Stewards. Stan Moore kidnapped Norman.
That's one for the sermon. You've got to get that on. I think that.
Yeah, right. The 335 and the Spring Cup. Obviously, some people might have expected me to tip Rogue Bear after tipping him last time, but he's 7-2. Meat on the bones. The Masai Mara, 3 days old carcass. And Rogue Bear is 7-2, and it's just one of them. He's not the sort of horse to back at 7-2, and Andy, who loves an in-running trade. Rogue Bear, I can't see like he's not a bridle horse. He's a tricky sort of old ride. He comes off the bridle at various points in his race. He's slowly away. Andy Richmond's all over this to get some bigger prices and trade it back. Andy, what do you say?
Probably, yeah. I can sort of see the angle in that. I mean, there's a few little bits and pieces of sort of stats I can give you in this that I've done. Horses rated 101 or higher have 0 from 44 in the race. No horse has won this with under 4 career starts. There's only 15 that have tried, but they're all beaten. The 7-year-olds have taken a bit of a beating since 1998. 7 or more, anything 7 or older, 1 from 63 in this. So they're not the ones to concentrate on. I can see him going quite well, Rogue Bear, but yeah, he's sort of one of these sort of hardy sort of horses, isn't he? The horse I do like is the top weight Migration, but I'm slightly put off by these by his large weight in this. I don't really want to have a bet in the race. Strangely enough, horses drawn 1 to 5 have won 4 of the last 6 run-ins.
That's interesting.
But there's nothing outstanding. This is This Is Us, who would fail the age stats. Mr. Tyrrell, Tila, Irish Admiral, and Modern News are those ones that are in there. I don't know if that's any sort of help to anyone, but I mean, you've got runners from the Lincoln have done well out of this, which is no great surprise, I suppose. I did have a little bit of a stat. Horses from the Lincoln do well. If they're 4, 5, or 6, if they were beaten under 14 lengths last time, they actually do pretty well in this. So you could give Rogue Bear a definite chance on that, but I'm not sure. Like you, I'm not sure I'd want to be steaming into that at 4.7 on the machine now, and Salem as well is just heading it for favouritism. Quite like, I suppose of the ones, Irish Admiral would be quite nice, and I'll be keeping an eye on Migration because I think he's a really nice horse, and I like the trainer as well. But there wasn't anything that really stood out for me in it. I wouldn't be rushing. And again, the ground is just a question mark for me. I just don't know.
Yeah, no. John, are you all over Sergeant Wilson?
No, well, not in this race. The one I was interested in was Mick Windmill's Trey Fleur.
Yeah.
I know it sells on Andy's age stat, but I did think this ran really well at York when we were there last year. Being 3 3/4 by Christ Turn, who Thick Dave gave a blinder to.
He did.
Ran off 96 that day. Don't wait till 8 now. Definitely well handicapped. Mick Windmill brought one along and won the Lincoln with a career best effort. He's not normally a trainer on that kind of back, but 20 to 1, I can probably make an exception. The worrying thing is the jockey comments in the post they've asked Sil what he thinks, and he says, I hope the ground dries out because he doesn't like soft. Well, I'm a bit disconcerted by that. I mean, the horse has won on good to soft in the past.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, I'm sure Sil knows better than us.
Well, it'd be interesting to see how it rides, but I like your case. It won off 92 last summer at Sandown.
Yeah.
So 88, it's, you know. And like you say, he stuck it up everyone in the Lincoln. So
Exactly. It looks like another one that can spoil everybody's day, doesn't
it? Another day spoiler, yes. Like you say, you've got Rogue Bear. It's hit the front in the final furlong, and up comes Mick Windmill and SDS to chin you on the line.
Windmilling.
Yeah. And there's only John Lang happy. Anyway, right. So we're sort of running short of time to cover Musselburgh, chaps. I weren't that bothered about the meeting, but any other business from you guys that you like? Adam, come to you. Any sort of other horses that take your interest tomorrow?
Yeah, there was a couple actually. Obviously, I stuck to the national hunt. I think I mentioned Bavington Bob earlier on in the 352 at Haydock. It looks a bit obvious to me, and I can't really. I'm a bit surprised he's been put in at 10-3 across the board. It's just impossible to knock the horse, to be honest. You know, has won 4 times on a trot, 7 from 15 in total. Obviously, that run's going to stop at some point, but he just seems the type that's just going to keep pulling it out. This is a bit of an afterthought, I suspect. 12 days after winning at Kelso, but again, he was miles on top at the line. He's up 9, which is fair. They've got a 25 grand pot to go for. They might as well do it. The ground at Haydock, we have no idea. Telrong's put 10 mils on yesterday. That could be anything really. But I don't think the opposition holds many fears at all in that. To be honest, should get a nice toe in. 1 or 2 pacemakers in there. I just thought it was not as an obvious 10-3 shot. The other one later on in the fillies chase, fillies and mares. Good race, Maid O'Malley, who ran a massive race at Cheltenham before coming down under the cold turd, who has been sidelined since. B. Hughes takes over, which you'd have to say that is a jockey upgrade. But the Maid has gone up £5 £6 for falling at the second last, so a bit harsh. It's a good race. I do like these mares races. Midnight Referendum was the one that I nearly tipped up. Cheek Piece's first time. She doesn't stay 3 miles. She doesn't go on deep ground. Perfect conditions tomorrow. Not overfaced this winter. Down to a good mark of 1.26. King and Cannon. I really liked her, and again, she looked too big a price to me. I thought she'd go really well. Fantastic.
Love your insights there for Haydock. Like you say, the Bavington Bob. He's such a lazy bugger. He comes off the bridle nearly every race he's running, and looks sort of in trouble mid-race for strides, and then he just does enough. It's like, what are you pushing me for?
I had a little chat to Hammy after he won second time at Newcastle. I says, you'll be putting Cheek Pieces on next time. He sort of said, yeah, but he hasn't done. They'll need him at some point, but I think it's been discussed elsewhere. He's all over a sort of a national type next year, a sort of I don't know whether an Ida or something like that. The further he goes, the more he'll keep improving. 139 looks high enough on the basis of starting out on 117, but you just don't know what he's got left. Yeah, the tight, as I say, if it does dry out, the track's going to be a bit tight for him probably. But I just thought to be putting it 2-1 again. Why not, sort of thing.
No, I agree. The way he won at Kelso was probably his easiest win as well. Yeah. So Anne Hamilton, one of the pound for pound best trainers in the game, and hopefully Bavington Bob will do the biz again tomorrow. Andy, any other business?
Yeah, I agree with Adam about Bavington Bob. He was on my sort of long short list. Just quickly on him, don't be pressing the pink button if he's, as Adam has alluded to, when he's trading a bit bigger in running, because Last time out, he hit 10.5 at Kelso, still won. He's done that at Newcastle and hit 10.5, and he actually hit 2:10 when he won at Hexham in a handicap hurdle late last year. So he is a horse who definitely finds the pressure. In the 4:39 at Carlisle, I thought Ritson is well handicapped if he travels or if he doesn't run as free as he did last time out. They probably give him a more conservative ride.
What race is that?
Abbott is a dark one in the 2:14. Might be a slippery one. You have to watch the betting in this one. A horse called Priory Wood, ridden by a £7 claiming amateur last time out. Its point-to-point form isn't great for the John Joe O'Neill stable. They've managed to slip it into make its chase handicap debut off a mark of 76, put the blinds on. Richie McClernand rides. There's been a few nibbles at it already. I could see that Priory Wood in the 2:14 may well get a bit of a nibble. And just at Musselburgh, the 2:39, McCanna. It's got a good record, good course record, 1-1-2-3. It's off a mark of 97. Both the defeats traded short in running. 2 from 4 when fresh, comes back from a long break, and Zarzini in the same race. Probably 2 against the field there would be my 2 picks in that. But keep an eye on that Priory Wood at Newton Abbott tomorrow in the 2:14. It might be a slippery one with 9 meetings on. They might be trying to slip one in under the radar.
Terrific, Andy. That's brilliant stuff from Andy and Adam there on the Twig Hoppers tomorrow, and some great stuff there on Andy with the fresh stats on Mackinac and the course stats with Mackinac and Zarzini as the 2 to side with there in the 5 furlong sprint.
Draw on Zarzini, drawn in ones, not great in the sprints at Musselburgh, but it's probably got a pretty decent chance. Does like to finish second, but watch the form of that race. It worked out really well last year. The first, the third and the fourth all won next time out, and Zarzini was second in that race last year. So it is a race that tends to work out. Good. I think it was called the Scottish Sprint Cup last year, but it's not this year, but it is exactly the same race.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you for that. John, anything for you?
There's 2 fascinating maidens tomorrow. One's the 5:20 at Newbury, and the other one's the 6:15 at Nottingham, where we have our 2 5 to follow horses. I'll be glued to those races.
Yeah. Is this what you're looking for in the 5:20 then tomorrow?
Yes. Very much so.
Lionel for John and his followers for Sergeant Wilson. Are you back in this tomorrow, John, for followers?
I'm very pleased at the price. The price just come through actually, and
5 to 1.
Yeah, against the Gosden one that ran at Donny, which I think it'll piss on that one. To be perfectly honest, so I'm very pleased with that. I mean, Ottoman Fleet that they put in favourite, gelded for debut. I never particularly like to say that with expensive purchases, so I'm quite hopeful really. I'm in view of the fact we might get Spencer. I might have an each way wanker bet. I don't know. Yeah,
I can smell the each way from here, John. It's wafted down like the Contiki down to York. York HQ now smells of each way on that one.
Yeah, stinking.
So what were you going to do in the 6:15? What's on the?
We've got a Quentin Franks asked to follow in that one.
Is that Sugan? Is it?
Solcombe.
Oh, Solcombe. Oh, yeah, of course, of Willie Agassiz, yeah.
Yeah, that's 10 to 1.
And look who he's booked for it. Look, it's Stevie Donoghue, the anchor.
Yeah. I like a bit more of a hint for these Agassiz horses in maidens. 10 to 1, I'm not entirely optimistic with that.
No. I think Quentin himself on private messages has sort of said he's a bit worried for Saturday's followers. We Solcombe anyway. I don't think he thinks it's D-Day with that one. So, but we'll update Bar Stewards on Twitter with what we think in the morning regarding any of our followers. I hope you've enjoyed this cracking show. We're back on Sunday for a Fairy House special sermon. Me, John, Lorne Malvo, Catherine Fry, I believe, is making an appearance with the Irish Lion King, Declan Carroll. So we've got 5 in the house. It's like one big mud wrestle fest. Catherine Fry, yes, everyone loves Catherine Fry. She's back. John's gave her permission, I think. So look forward to that on Sunday. So Hope you enjoyed it. This is bye-bye from me, Adam, Andy, and John. Good evening.